Hello and welcome to the new series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment today, we are going to discuss about India's submarine program. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. Let's begin, and I hope you are continuously looking at the syllabus, and if you know the topic, then you will be able to relate it to the syllabus of GS mains paper 2 and 3. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to discuss step by step. Let's start with the news. Recently, CBI has filed 2 charge sheets against one retired and one serving naval officer over the accusation that they were leaking information with respect to the modernization of the Kilo class submarine of India. So these are actually very significant allegations, and this makes this topic very important. So submarines are basically warships. Essentially, they are warships that have a streamlined hull. They are submerged underwater for a long period of time in order to keep any region for which they are designated, to keep it safe, secure, and look out for any threats. Now, submarines do come on the surface either for fuel, if they are conventional diesel electric submarines, or for other replenishments, for example, essential in the terms of nuclear submarine I am referring here, that nuclear submarines can stay submerged for a longer period of time. We will know why. And for only getting food and water, they might have to come up the water. Okay. So if we talk about the history with respect to the submarine program of India, as you can see, we have covered it point wise. And it was for the first time ever in 1967 that India got its first ever submarine of the Foxtrot class from erstwhile USSR Russia, that was INS Kalvari. And till the year 1969, India had 4 of them. Of the Foxtrot class itself, India had 4 submarines. In the War of 1971, they were baptized, the submarines used, and at the same period of time, we also had a nascent envisioning of a 30-year plan. 30-year plan for India's submarine program. Now, 30-year plan for India's submarine program, we will cover it after we have covered these points. Okay, just to make sure that you have this in mind at the background. In 1981, India signed a contract to buy 2 Type 209 submarine from West Germany. Okay, and that was also said that 2 other were to be assembled at the Mazagon dock. And these submarines from West Germany, they belong to the Shishumar class. For the first time ever, it was actually commissioned in the year 1986. So, India has certain 15 conventional diesel electric submarine, of which 4 are from Shishumar class, 4 are from Kalvari class, that is from France, and the remaining are from the USSR. And Russia offered at the same time in the 1980s itself the Kilo class submarines, that is INS Sindhu Ghosh. Okay, and from the year 1986 to 1992, India got 8 submarines. Okay, from USSR and 2 from Germany. So as you can see, the number of submarines were increasing with the help of or the assistance of foreign powers, and 12 new submarines in 8 years from 1986 was added. However, 2 more Kilo class submarines from Russia in 1999 and 2000 were added, which took the number of submarines to 20. So understand one thing, that since the 1970s till the 1980s, India did not have any new submarine, neither from a foreign power or from indigenous development. So if we talk about the Navy's 30-year submarine construction plan, I will try to explain you here that the plan for 30 years, it was supposed to span, and it is still spanning, from 2000 to 2030. And this plan got the approval of Cabinet Committee on Security in the year 1999. So importance of the hydrosphere, as India has a long coastline, was of course acknowledged through this. And it was envisioned that India will have 12 submarines by the year 2012 to 2015. That means from the year 2000 to 2012 and 2015, with the assistance of foreign powers, India will have 12 submarines. Again, in the data itself, in the document itself, it was said that till the year 2030, India will have, or India must and should have 12 submarines that are indigenously developed. But as we have seen that the number could have been higher than what we have right now. India should have 24 submarines that are working in nature, none of them decommissioned. Okay? And accordingly, India was developing and still is developing indigenously built submarines. Okay? So it is under this only that we have INS Arihant and INS Airagat. These are nuclear powered submarines, remember this. Okay? So I just gave you a gist of that. Let's move forward and talk about the other important aspects. Now, if we talk about certain acronyms or certain terms, SSN is nuclear powered submarine. Okay? Nuclear powered submarine. And SSK is basically the conventional diesel electric powered submarines. Okay? So, as you can see, India got its first nuclear submarine in 1987 with the help from Soviet Navy. Now, it was rechristened or renamed as INS Chakra, which was decommissioned in the year 1991. Alright? And in 2012 again, India got another Russian nuclear powered submarine on a 10-year lease, which was returned. That was also INS Chakra, but it was INS Chakra 2. And it was returned to Russia. Now, 12 submarines are to be built indigenously. Okay? And that would be after the Project 75 and Project 75I. Now, Project 75I right now has not even taken off. Project 75 is still undergoing. 6 would be SSN instead of SSK. That means 6 submarines will be nuclear powered instead of diesel electric powered, the conventional. Okay, one thing I think you are confused or you might be confused about is that nuclear submarines essentially mean that they have nuclear warheads. No. Nuclear submarines are those submarines which are using nuclear energy as fuel instead of diesel electric or any other fuel. That means the nuclear submarines can stay submerged under the water for a longer period of time. That means more and more promising on the security front. Accordingly, it comes above the water once in a while when it has to go for replenishments, food or water for the crew. Okay? And they also are quiet in nature. They have a longer range. They specifically act as a deterrent because they might be carrying ballistic missiles, but they do not have any sort of nuclear warhead right now. Okay? So don't get confused. Let's move forward. Now, India has developed its own submarines, nuclear powered submarines. They are INS Arihant and INS Airagat. INS Airagat is actually the upgradation of INS Arihant. And India is actually building at least 2 larger nuclear submarines that will have bigger missiles, namely S4 and S4 Star projects. Remember the names of the projects, and this could be asked in your prelims exam. And the 4 SSBNs are expected to be commissioned before 2030. That means we have to wait for another decade. Let's move forward and talk about the important topics with respect to this only. That is, now in 2013, INS, basically the Russian built INS, which we have already talked about, INS Sindhu Darshak, it sank off the coast of Mumbai because of fire-related explosion. And last year itself, now India also gifted the INS Sindhuveer to Myanmar in order to have more robust relations with Myanmar, keeping China in mind, because China is also developing and providing nuclear submarines and warships to Pakistan. So we have to, of course, look at other alternatives. For India, it was Myanmar. Okay, let's move on and talk about the submarine program of India. Now, under Project 75, India has developed 3 Kalvari class Scorpene. Okay, and the project will be India's first under the strategic partnership model. Now this has come up in 2015. The government, because it's a strategic partnership, it will have contracts with the equipment manufacturers, okay, and with the help of the manufacturers, we will be able to retrofit and develop submarines. So the two selected SPs and MDLs are Larsen and Toubro, very important and very renowned company actually. And the 5 selected equipment manufacturers are France's Naval Group, Germany's ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, and Russia's ROE, South Korea's Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering, and Spain's Navantia. So you have to remember the names of the countries with which India is developing submarines under Project 75. It could be asked in prelims. Okay, that's why I have included the names. Let's move forward and talk about the Kilo class submarines. Now, Kilo class submarine is a class of diesel electric attack submarine. That means it's offensive and conventional. And conventional, when I'm using the word, that means it has been in use since a long period of time and it has been used by many countries. So conventional in that sense. It is designed and built in Soviet Union for the Soviet Navy. And the class was built until the mid-1990s. When production was switched to more advanced Project 636 Varshav-Yanka variant, also known as improved Kilo class in the West. And anti-shipping and anti-submarine operations have been undertaken by it in relatively shallow waters. The Russian Navy has also moved forward with the construction of Project 636.3, an improved version of the Kilo class. Remember this, it could be asked in prelims. So what is Project 636 or what is Project 636 Varshav-Yanka? Okay, what is Varshav-Yanka variant? Let's move forward and talk about China. China is developing its submarine, specifically nuclear submarine program at a very robust scale. And India needs submarines for very 2 reasons. First is our own marine security and second because of China. China because it is growing and hardening its position not only in the territorial areas but also in the aquatic and hydrosphere region. And it is also giving Pakistan submarines and destroyers. Recently, today itself, China has given Pakistan the biggest stealth destroyer warship to Pakistan. China has gifted Pakistan that. And China currently operates 4 nuclear submarines, that means ahead of India, and is fitting 2 additional hulls. That means it's improving, modernizing. And it has 6 nuclear submarines and 50 diesel-powered attack submarines, much ahead of India even here as well. Also, China has constructed 12 nuclear submarines in the last 15 years. According to the Pentagon report itself, it will be having 65 to 70 submarines that are continuously commissioned and decommissioned till the entire 2020s. So, as we can see, we are way back. We are lagging behind China. And it is expected to have up to 8 nuclear submarines by 2030. That means it will have much stronger stealth capacities when it comes to the keeping eye on different countries in the littoral area of not only East and South China Sea, but through Pakistan it is proving to be a proxy in the Indian Ocean as well. Why not take also Sri Lanka, Maldives? So it could happen with India as well. Now we have to keep one thing in mind here, that is AUKUS. AUKUS, which has been a grouping between US, UK and Australia in order to provide nuclear submarines to Australia. Something has to be done by the Indian side as well, that we can prove to be an ally of those countries which are democratic in nature, right? So challenges, first is the issue with modernization. Now the problem with this entire modernization pact is that India is modernizing at a very slow pace. The pace which should be there is not there. Project 75 that was supposed to be signed earlier, it was signed only by 2005, and Project 75I has not taken off. That means if these projects are not going to take off at the proper pace, the development for nuclear submarines will also be delayed. China and Pakistan are proving to be another problem, not only in the territorial security front, but aquatic security front as well. We have discussed about this. And also, nuclear submarine, I am trying to say over here as a challenge, because first we need to develop it indigenously, and that needs a lot of investment in the defense sector, not only from the government, although government will be primarily investing as it's a security, national security challenge, but we also need innovation and other sort of investment from the private sector as well. Okay, let's move forward and talk about the way forward. Of course, modernization should go parallel with innovation, hand in hand with innovation. We should keep on modernizing and retrofitting the previous submarines along with commissioning new submarines and developing them indigenously. We cannot put all the eggs in one basket. Okay, we will just modernize, or we will just commission new ones, or we will not innovate. Not like that. Okay, it should go parallelly. And what started with the embargo on the imports of defense equipments since last year should be channelized in a positive manner to developing an Atmanirbhar Bharat in the defense sector as well. That means we need investment in research and development, and we also need investment in different startups and incubation center for Atmanirbhar Bharat in the defense sector. Also, balanced focus should be there on the west coast and east coast. Not only China, but as I told you, through its proxy, by the help of Pakistan, we need to balance the western coast of Indian peninsula as well as eastern coast. Nuclear submarines should be developing in parallel with Project 75 and Project 75I, because we do not have a lot of time if we have to stay protected against China in our territorial area. It's not going to attack in the future, near future, but what might happen if it does? Okay, let's move forward and look at our question for the next segment. All right. Comment on India's submarine programs. How is China emerging as a threat to India in the hydrosphere through its submarine program? We have to write it in 250 words. Okay. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated, and thank you so much for watching.